Okay, so today our topic is totally on the confusion matrix. Confusion matrix. So, what is the confusion matrix actually? A confusion matrix is a tabular summary of the number of correct and incorrect predictions made by a classifier. Okay, so it can be used to evaluate the performance of a classification model through the calculation of the performance matrices, like what? Like accuracy, like precision, like recall, and F1 score. So suppose we have some the predicted predicted outcomes. Suppose we have some predicted outcomes, and suppose we have some actual outcomes. Okay, so suppose in predicted outcomes in table there is class A, in actual outcomes there is or there should be class A. So for that we will follow some specific code, like for importing the dependencies we are using in that type code, like sklearn import matrices. Okay, in that way we are writing for the prediction of the values. For the prediction of the values we are written like y predict equal to something we written in a list format, suppose a comma b comma c. Okay, in that way we are writing. Okay, and in y actual, that also we are taking as a variable as in same format. For confusion matrix we print matrices dot confusion matrix, then y actual, y predicted, predicted value, and the labels will be a b c. So in that way we are doing the confusion matrix in Python. So what is the explanation? Now some people can want to know what is the explanation of the confusion matrix. So y prediction is a list. Y prediction is a list what we have totally defined previously. Y prediction is a list that holds the predicted labels. Y actual contains the actual label, like this one. Okay, this is the actual label. Okay, so in that way, suppose uh, matrices dot confusion matrix. Now what this one is hold in the coding format, matrices dot confusion matrix, this format we have seen. So what is that format doing? It takes in the list of actual labels, the list of predicted labels, and an optional argument to specify the order of the labels. And what it is doing? It is actually doing, it calculates the confusion matrices. Okay, what it is doing? It is doing actually the confusion matrices. So this one we need to know actually what actually it is doing, what this one is doing. We actually mm, we need to know actually for the given inputs. And what the classification report is doing, what the classification report is doing, it takes in the list of actual labels, the list of predicted labels, and an optional argument to specify the order of the labels, and it calculates the performance matrices like precision, recall, support, those things actually it is doing. So today what we are going to learn, the understanding the confusion matrix and how to implement this on Python. So what are those things? First is introduction. Second one is what is confusion matrix. Third one is confusion matrix matrices. Fourth one is example of true cross true matrix. And fifth one is the Python code. So these are the topics of the today. So in the introduction, anyone can build a machine learning model with some few lines of code, with some few Python, C. Okay, those coding skills are there. But what do I mean by a good machine learning model? It depends by generally when you are going to evaluate your machine learning model based on some predetermined matrices that we are going to use for the model training, for model testing, training the data set, those things. So when it comes to building classification model, you will most likely use the confusion matrix. These are going to use on that time and related matrices to evaluate your model. So confusion matrices are not just useful in model evaluation, but also model monitoring and model management. So we will cover what a confusion matrix is and some key terms and matrices and example of two cross true matrix. So those things. But what actually confusion matrix is? This is also known as an error matrix, which is summarized, uh, which is a summarized table, which is used to access the performance of a classification model, the number of correct and incorrect predictions, which are summarized with count values and broken down by each class. So these are divided into 2 cross 2 confusion matrix. To give an example, we can say, let's say that there were 10 instances where classification model is going to predict yes, in which the actual value is yes. If the predicted value is going to yes, then actual value should be yes. If the actual value is yes, then predicted value should be yes. So then the number of 10 would be go in the top left and the true positive quadrant. So this leads us some key forms. Confusion matrix is totally actually confusion matrix. So it will confuse you sometimes. But when you are in the predicted values, when you are the actual values, you will understand what is positive, what is negative, what is true positive, what is true negative, what is false positive, what is false negative. So those things are really important. And this is the chart of uh, confusion matrix. So you can see here in my screen, I written down what is positive point, what is negative point, those things I have written. So you must focus on the specific topics so that you will understand. Okay. So what is true positive? What is the false positive, what is false negative, and what is the true negative. So these things first we need to understand, but before that, what is positive? Observation is positive, like this is a dog, this is called positive. Observation is not positive, this is not a dog, as for example, it is negative. True positive, TP, true positive. Outcomes where the model correctly predicts the positive class. Outcome where the model correctly predicts the positive class. This is called the true positive. What is true negative? Outcomes where the model correctly predicts the negative class. This is called the true negative. What is false positive? False positive, what is? This is also called the type 1 error. So this is called the type 1 error. Okay. This is also called the type 1 error. An outcome where the model incorrectly predicts the positive class when it is actually negative. What is false negative? What is false negative? This is also called the type 2 error. So this is called the type 2 error. Okay. This is called the type 2 error. An outcome where the model incorrectly predicts the negative class when it is actually positive. So false positive and false negative are opposite of each other. False positive and false negative, these two are opposite of each other, reciprocal. So next is the confusion matrices. So next is the confusion matrices. Now that you understand the general topics, the general structure of a confusion matrix with some associated key terms, with some associated good values, so we can drive into some of the main matrices that you can calculate from a confusion matrix. Now, what is now required is the accuracy, and second one is mainly the precision. These two topics are required now. Third one is the recall. This one is also important. And now specificity, F1 score, these topics are also important. Okay, what are the specificity? What are the, so first one is what is the accuracy? Okay, so these things actually you need to know that what is accuracy. Suppose uh, precision and simply equal to the proportion of the predictions that the model classification, and accuracy is actually TP plus TN. Accuracy is TP plus TP plus TN, divided by TP plus TN plus FP plus FN. So this is called the accuracy. What is precision? Precision is also known as positive predictive value, and this is precision is also known as positive predictive value, and this is proportion of relevant instances among the retrieved instances. In other words, precision equal to TP divided by TP plus FP. True positive divided by true positive plus false positive. What is recall? What is recall? The third point. Recall, also known as the sensitivity, hit rate, and true positive rate. Recall, also known as sensitivity hit rate or the true positive rate. So this is the proportion of total amount of relevant instances. Recall equal to TP divided by TP plus FN. So this is the main topic. Okay, so today we are actually out of time. In the next session of confusion matrix, we will discuss more about the specificity, about the F1 score, how to code it in Python. Those things we will discuss. So thanks for watching. Please share and subscribe my channel for the updates. And thank you.